So what do you do when a cleaning routine just isn't working? Maybe you feel frustrated because you feel like you should be able to maintain a cleaning routine and you just haven't been able to. Maybe you struggle with mental health issues and the idea of adhering to a cleaning routine just feels totally overwhelming. Maybe you tend to be more of a messy, creative type of person and you rebel against routines, but you know that you need some degree of orderliness to keep functionality in your space. Or maybe you had a routine that was working really well before and it just isn't anymore and you can't seem to get back on track. If any of these are true for you, you're in the right place. Well, if we haven't met before, my name is Betsy. I have a wonderful husband and 2 small kids and a third one coming very soon. And if cleaning routines do not work for you, I'm so glad that you're here. I recently read this book, How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis, and it has really changed my perspective. Now, this is not a new book. It came out in 2020, but I dismissed it initially because I thought, oh, this book just isn't for me. I am a person that tends to like staying fairly tidy, enjoy routine, enjoy decluttering, but it turned out that I was wrong. After having 2 babies and being very close, I'm in my 3rd trimester, I have had some very tough seasons previously when I had my 2 children, and I'm coming into another season of postpartum soon with my 3rd child. These have been difficult seasons for me. They've been overwhelming seasons. And so this book really spoke to me in a major way. Now, I don't agree with everything in this book, but she gets beyond just method and routine in this book. And she talks a lot about the mental and emotional side of things. After I had my first 2 babies, the whole idea of keeping to a big cleaning routine was not in the realm of possibility for me. So whether you are someone that feels like this has been a lifelong struggle for you, or you are someone that feels like this is a tough season that you're in, I would really encourage you to read this book. So what I'm going to do in this video is share with you the main idea in the book and then my 5 biggest takeaways, and then stick around and I'll share a couple of bonus things with you at the end. So the main idea of this book is that you don't exist to serve your space. Your space exists to serve you. And so the natural question is your space serving you? And if the answer is yes, great. But if the answer is no, and cleaning routines so far have not helped you be able to get to the point that you want to get to, then some of these takeaways that I found might be encouraging for you. They were definitely encouraging for me. Takeaway number 1, you are not a moral failure if you can't keep up. I'll say that again. You are not a moral failure if you can't keep up. If there are seasons of life that are difficult for you where you just are not keeping up on stuff, or if it feels like it's a perpetual problem where you're just like, man, I can never get on top of this stuff, it does not make you a moral failure. Those things are not connected. You being a good mom and being caught up on the laundry, those things are not connected. We seem to tie those things together so tightly that if my house is in perfect order, that means that I'm really on top of life. And that means that I'm a good mom and I'm a good wife and I'm a good homemaker. But if those things are falling apart, or if they're behind, or if we're eating a frozen lasagna for dinner, then that means I'm a bad mom. And that's just not the case. There are people whose homes are messy a lot of the time who are wonderful moms. And there are people whose homes are spotless that are really struggling in motherhood. So those 2 things are not connected. You are not a moral failure if you can't keep up. Takeaway number 2, quickest is not always best. I'm going to quote Casey Davis on this because she puts it so perfectly. The approach that you are motivated to do and enjoy doing is the most efficient because you are actually doing it and not avoiding it. There are so many cleaning routines out there. This cleaning guru and that cleaning guru saying, this is the most efficient way to do things, and this is the way you have to do things. And if you want to stay on top of your house, this is what you have to do. This idea is really gold. The way that works best for you is the way to do it. That's it. It does not matter if it's not the quickest way. And sometimes you just need permission to let go of what some cleaning guru or some expert is saying is the way to do things. And you just do the thing in the best way that works for you, that you know you will consistently be able to do over time. I needed to hear this, and maybe it's helpful for you too. Quickest is not always best. Takeaway number 3, good enough is perfect. Casey Davis says, if prioritizing a few good things that really matter to you and aiming for good enough with the rest of it lets you come out at the end of the day healthy and able to experience joy, that's an excellent life. I have followed the Clean Mama cleaning routine for quite a while, and on Thursdays, it's always mopping day. For some reason, this chore just has a lot of friction for me. I have trouble getting the mop out, getting the mop bucket out, and I can't tell you how many weeks I've either procrastinated or just canned that task altogether because I just don't want to do it. But the fact of the matter is, for our family, functional and livable means that I'm giving the kitchen floor a quick sweep once or twice a day. That's very doable for me. It's not hard to grab the broom. It's not hard to grab the dustpan, quickly sweep the kitchen and dining room floor. It goes really fast. And so in that situation, it doesn't mean, oh, I should never mop, but it just means I can stop beating myself up over that I'm not mopping exactly how often Clean Mama says I should mop. My kids could not care less if there are some spots on the floor. My husband doesn't care, but everybody starts to notice that there's a lot of crumbs or a lot of junk on the floor over time. And so just doing a quick sweep once or twice a day goes so far in keeping that space livable and functional for us. And so that, for me, in our home, is a prime example of good enough is perfect. I'm going to let go of the guilt of not mopping the floor often enough, and I'm going to say, you know what? When I'm able to do it, that's great, but most of the time, sweeping this floor keeps it plenty functional for our family. Takeaway number 4 is do what you need to do to get by. And this tip resonated especially for me. Like I said, I'm in my 3rd trimester, coming into another postpartum period soon, and having done it twice, I know what postpartum feels like, and it can be quite a roller coaster, as I'm sure some of you can attest as well. And so do what you need to do to get by. It talks about things like eating off paper plates if you need to, using disposable cleaning tools, or I would say using even cleaning products that don't have the perfect ingredients. You know it's not going to be forever, but you are at a period of time where you just need to get by. You're moving towards being in a better place, but you can't help other people if you're not in a good place yourself. And so it's this whole idea of putting on your own oxygen mask before you're helping somebody else with their oxygen mask. Do what you need to do to get by. And so this means that if you had a cleaning routine going and everything fell apart, or you've had to drastically simplify things or whatever, do what you need to do to get by. Do what you need to do to make your home livable, to make it functional, and then know that you are gradually moving towards a better place. But the first step in moving towards a better place is stopping with the guilt. I'm going to do what I need to do to get to a functional place, and then I'm just going to slowly and gradually improve from there as I'm ready. Takeaway number 5 is 3 rules for the no pressure cleaning routine. Now, I know this video is all about when cleaning routines don't work for you, but I thought this takeaway was really good. She says, if you do set up a cleaning schedule for yourself, even if it's just a loose one, very casual, the way to make it as low pressure and no pressure as possible is to post 3 rules right next to your list. Rule number 1, this list is here to serve me. I do not serve this list. Rule number 2, missing days is morally neutral. And rule number 3, I do not have to complete the whole task. These things might have been what is keeping you from jumping into a cleaning routine. If you feel like cleaning routines have just never worked, if you feel like you're always falling off the wagon, so often we hold ourselves to the standard of perfection. And the reality is that life is rarely ideal. Right? We're rarely in ideal circumstances where time works out and our health works out and our family's health and relationships and all these things, to where we just have all this time and all this energy to be able to check off a cleaning routine perfectly. And that's often what makes a lot of us quit, right? Is feeling like, oh, I just can't even do this. I can't keep up with this. And so to heck with it, right? But if you post these 3 rules, this is just going to take away that pressure of feeling like you have to adhere to that list perfectly. You don't, because the truth is that you won't. But if you give yourself that permission to be relaxed, the odds are that you're actually going to be way more successful. So her 3 rules for a no pressure cleaning routine, super helpful. So those are my 5 takeaways from the book. 2 practical suggestions she gives, and this is the bonus. I love this. Number 1 is setting functional priorities. She sets up a grid of 9 different squares, and you can put in those squares any functional tasks, any things that need to get done around your house, from washing the dishes to showering to taking your vitamins, to, you get the idea. She puts all of those in the 9 squares, and then on one side you've got effort, from low to high, and then you've got impact from low to high. You arrange these different tasks in the squares where it makes sense for you. So on difficult days or difficult seasons, when you are just doing what you can to get by and you are not even thinking about doing any sort of cleaning routine, this is a great grid that you can look at and say, okay, look, here's what I need to do today. I need to take a shower, take my vitamins, wash the dishes, and that's it. Or I need to throw in one load of laundry. And it just kind of takes you through what you have set up beforehand to be the most important priorities and the least important priorities. And she says it best when she says, how can you do the most good with the least amount of energy? I look back at my 2 previous postpartums and I'm looking ahead to my 3rd. How can I do the most good with the least amount of energy? That is going to be the question I ask myself every single day after having this baby. This is such a useful exercise, and it's something that you can use to help you through those times when you feel like you just don't know how to prioritize, and cleaning routine is not going to do anything for you in terms of telling you what you need to do and how to make things most functional for your space. Her second practical suggestion that I really loved is the 5 things tidying method. She talks about how to go into any room and tidy according to categories. She gives you 5 categories that you can work through in a room so that you are not just wandering around aimlessly, picking up this, picking up that, and not really making any headway. I have been there so many times. I've been there within the last week, honestly. And so she gives these 5 categories: trash, dishes, laundry, things to be put away, and homeless things. And she encourages you, if you're having a really tough day, if things are just not going well, just do one of these things. Just start with trash. And then if you have the energy to pick up the dishes in the room, take those to the kitchen sink. Don't feel like you have to do the dishes right away. Again, if you're having a really tough day, just gather the dishes in the kitchen sink. And so she kind of goes through each of these different categories. How do you kind of methodically go through a room and tidy it up when you are feeling like you're just overwhelmed? I hope this has been helpful. Cleaning routines can be incredibly controversial. There are seasons of life where they can work really well. There's seasons of life where they just don't work at all. But oftentimes I think for most of us, it's somewhere in between. If you have already read this book, I would love if you would leave in the comments below some of the nuggets of wisdom that you found in this book. And even if you haven't read it, I would love to hear in the comments below if there are things that you have found helpful when you're in a season where cleaning routines just are not working for you. I know it would be really encouraging for me to read, and I know it would be super encouraging for others as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.